100 days of Minecraft Hardcore. What an amazing mode. One mistake and it's over. This is a part 1 video, and if this goes well, I'll upload a part 2. So yeah, I beat Minecraft 100 days of Hardcore. Starting off on day 1, I chopped a couple of wood to make a crafting table and wooden tools. I then went to upgrade my tools to cobblestone tools. Because I don't like wooden tools, they are slow, inefficient, and almost useless. I then went on chopping more wood so I can start building my house. I wanted to build a tree house, don't ask why, so I started working on making a path to my tree house. On day 2, I continued on working on the pathway to my tree house. I was bothered by a bunch of leaves and even weirdly placed blocks of wood. It didn't stop me from making my tree house though. As soon as I felt that I was high off the ground enough, I started making the flooring on the treehouse, and that was it for the day. On day 3, I made 4 posts for my treehouse and started working on the walls of the treehouse. I then made 2 doors and placed them at the entrance. I personally like 2 doors better than 1 because I'm a fatty batty, you know. I then placed my bed and wanted it to look like a sleeping bag. I don't know why, and then placed a chest next to it. And went on mining for a little bit of iron. I got a good amount of iron, and on my way back home, I slaughtered 2 chickens for food and then crafted me my very first amazing looking shield. On day 4, I went mining for a bit. I got some iron and also got coal, and more coal, and even more coal. You can never get more coal, Steve once said. I then got back home, smelted my iron, and made an iron helmet. After that, I went on chopping down more trees because I really wanted to finish building my house. I got all the wood and worked on the walls, and finally worked on the roof. I made the roof out of wooden slabs because I like it, and I then made a couple windows just for the scenery, and then torched the place up because I didn't want mobs to spawn next to me in bed. On day 5, I went digging for sand for the windows of my treehouse. I got back home and smelted all the sand for glass, and while it was smelting, I wanted to make a wooden post that looked like it was giving support to my treehouse. Just like how you guys are giving support to this channel, so don't forget to subscribe down below for more crazy content like this every week. After that, all the sand was melted and I filled all my windows with glass, and this is what it looked like. So beautiful. I then finished the rest of the wooden posts, and with the extra wood I had, I placed them under the stairs for design, I guess. And look at that masterpiece. The rest of the day I spent traveling, stumbled across a ruined nether portal. That kind of reminds me of my childhood. I checked out what's inside of the chest and found a decent amount of iron ingots that resembled my brain cells, and some curse of binding pants, which also remind me of my tight pants that I'm wearing right now. I took the 2 blocks of gold from on top of the nether portal and went back home. On day 6, I found a wandering villager. He didn't have anything good, so I killed him, and then his llama started spitting on my face. Killed him too. I thought animals liked being free. After that, I found a small cave and mined iron. I then found more iron, and then found coal, and then mined all of it and collected all of it. After leaving the cave, I stumbled across a village. I tried to be friends with the villagers, but they ignored me and didn't make me feel welcome. So being the kind person I am, I took all their stuff. Yup, I just basically made myself welcomed, and they didn't do anything about it. And they were not very happy about it. I then left the village and found an amazing horse, to which I wanted so bad, so I force tamed it, and I also force tamed its friend. I then used the leads to force them to come to my base. I was so happy that I got not 1, but 2 horses. Guys, they died. Guys, why does everything I love to get destroyed? Being angry and upset with myself, I released it on a bony skeleton, and the love of my dreams popped right in front of me, and it only took 1 bone to tame it. I called it Doggo Binongo Ding Dong. We'll call him Dog for short. And with that, me and my dog went on an epic killing spree. He was the best thing that ever happened to me. I then found another ruined nether portal. I then boxed myself like a fish and waited for the next day to come. On day 7, I came out of my cocoon feeling like I have just been giving birth again. I soon came in contact with the creeper. And he almost killed my dog, but because my dog was an alpha, the beta next to him died, while the alpha survived. I then found a ravine. Mined the iron I found. It wasn't much, but I found more and more iron, and while I was trying to look for more iron, a creeper fell from the sky and just explodes in my face. I almost died. That was basically it for the series, but fortunately, being the amazing Superman I am, I survived the blast and boxed myself like a fish. After coming out of my cocoon, I was attacked by another creeper. It was basically a planned attack by the creeper gang. They wanted me dead. I tried fighting back, but I was worried about my dog, and then the creeper explodes and my dog teleported away like an Enderman. This dog was basically invincible. The only thing that bothered him was the rain. What a beast. I then went home with enough iron to make full iron armor. On day 8, I smelled all the iron I found from that ravine. My first full body iron armor, as well as a iron sword. Look how awesome I look. I then made a boat and went back to the village I found from before, and a volunteer got in my boat. I then encountered an obstacle, to which I placed a wooden slab and hoped that the boat would be able to go over it, but it failed. I then dug a tunnel, and after having my tool broken, I covered the tunnel with the dirt of shame. I then went back home and made a bucket and filled it up with water. I hoped that would work, but sadly, being a fat child, the boat just sank into the water faster than my sub count. I then followed the villager back to its home, and he offered me his bed for me to sleep in for a chance for him to stare at me while asleep. On day 9, me and the villager went back to work, and clearly on the first day I was able to make it 1 block up using only the boat and water, but just like everything that goes up must come down. At this point, the villager had enough. He hopped off the boat and took matters into his own hands and just started jumping on the blocks, and to which made my job so much easier. I then got him on my boat, and I was so happy. I felt so accomplished, especially when you work so hard on something like this. Guys, we got lost. I don't even know how this happened. I think I brain farted for 10 minutes and got me and this patient villager lost. On day 10, I found my way back to the village and got another villager. And day 11, I got him my base safe and sound. I made a comfy place for him. He felt so at home and had nothing to worry about. Day 12, I got my second villager, and this time I used a path I made to get him base, and I also built a comfy place for him as well. They have nothing to worry about. They are safe with me. And by the end of the day, while I was thinking, one of the villagers made a run for it. He went into creative and flew over the wall like Superman, at least that's what I thought, and sprinted away. I mean, I am a very nice person. Luckily, I catched up to him and he felt bad and got on my boat, but it was too dark, so I went to sleep so that mobs don't. On day 13, I got the villager back to his awesome 2x2 comfy home, and I villager proofed the place because I didn't want the villagers running away. Again, because I take my job seriously, and I treat every villager with respect and honesty, and I didn't want another villager to escape ever again, because it would really bother me. I then started expanding the place because apparently villagers need space to make more villagers. I know, it's weird. Who needs that much room? You can just feed the bread and a baby villager will spawn like that. It shouldn't be that complicated. And because I have so much respect for the villagers, I didn't want them to walk on dirt every day, so I went out of my way to make a wooden flooring for them because I love my villagers. I then went back to my dog, and because your 2 brain-celled boy forgot his awesome dog back at the village, and while I was at it, I took all the beds in the village because it was free real estate, and I headed back to my village and placed all the beds there so they can feel at home. On day 14, I was greeted by a group of evil pillagers that came to destroy my beloved home. I started to worry about my village farm, and my awesome dog knew something was wrong and went out of his way to kill the evil pillagers. I was so proud of the amazing effort that my dog had put in the fight. He saved me and my village from a horrible creature known as the pillager. Luckily, me and my dog, well, most likely my dog, we killed all the pillagers, and with the bad omen I had, I went to my old village and started a useless raid over there. While at home, I killed a spider and witnessed the amazing birth of a villager. I felt like a dad. Wait, what? On day 15, I started working on my farm. I didn't want something huge at the moment. I just wanted something small, easy to work with, and something that looks nice to everyone that visits my home. On day 16, I found a bee to which it was kind enough to take me back to its place, and seeing that gave me an idea of making a bee farm. Then went back to work on my epic little farm. I made a pathway around the plant area, and then started placing fences so that no mob or even me, because don't forget, I can do dumb things at some moments. And that was it for the day. On day 17, I finished the farm, and man, it was looking pretty nice. So on day 18, all prepared up, I went on a journey to mine iron. I found iron, coal, more coal, and even more iron. There was basically a lot of iron just laying around. I then met 2 amazing new friends. We had fun together, but sadly they died of natural causes, to which made them vanish. I then slept in the cave because it was already dark outside and I didn't want to go out. And on day 19, I woke up and witnessed an intelligent skeleton like me end his life like a noob on a wheelchair. I then left the cave and killed a helplessly lonely fish. I did the fish a favor anyway. I then got back home all hungry and tired and stored my riches in the secured chest. On day 20, I went digging for a ton of sand and I witnessed a squid drown to death. Kinda like my humor in these videos. But I went back to digging sand. I then got back home and smelted all the juicy dry sand into glass. After that, I began building my bee farm. I wanted to build a small 2-step entrance before building the actual glass dome. Luckily, the bee was not at home yet, so he didn't notice anything. And on day 21, I made a wooden pathway that had stairs because I hate spamming the space bar. I then started working on the actual dome itself, but I soon came to realize I didn't have enough glass, so your boy went back digging for sand. I kept on digging and digging until my shovel broke, kinda like my heart. I then went back to my home, smelted all the sand, and went back to finishing the bee farm. Before fully closing the glass dome, the bee came back home, and to my surprise, he was cooperative with his farm. On day 22, I finally finished, and this is how it looked like. Just beautiful. I also learned that placing campfires near beehives make bees not become aggro when you borrow their honey, which to me is a fantastic thing. I then got my first honeycomb and then went on a flower gathering spree, to which I found the second bee. I will name him Ebe, backwards for bee. I took him to his new home, to which he entered willingly by my bribe. I lastly placed all the flowers on the ground because these are the only flowers they are gonna see in their entire life, so they had to get used to them. Yup, I'm a human. On day 23, my audio came back, so I started working on the villager trade farm by carving and digging and digging, and that's what I did for the whole day. On day 24, I started building the trade stand one by one next to each other, and this was probably the most accomplished work I have made so far. I then ran out of cobblestone, like my friend list, when I stopped playing Roblox. I then went to harvesting the crops on my farm for a bit, and ended the day by witnessing more baby villagers, because why not? It's amazing. After that, they all knocked out. On day 25, I got my first volunteer to start working on my forest trade farm. I wanted the first trader to be a farmer because farmers are the easiest way to get emeralds quickly. Well, at least to my knowledge. I then boxed him in his stand and then built around him like a fish and forced him to accept a job skill. And because he loved me so much, he became a farmer just for me. What a good employee. He's just nervous. Nothing is wrong. On day 26, I got my second volunteer to start working, and I did the same thing to him as the previous happy villager, except this time the villager became a toolsmith willingly. I then made my first trade and got my first emerald. I felt so accomplished after that. On day 27, I went to check up on my bees and how they were doing. Let's just say they were so happy with their place that they pooped a baby bee. I don't actually think that's how bees are born. Days 28 to 30, I worked on the biggest farm project because after the villager trade, I got motivated so much to the point I wanted to make the biggest, baddest, awesome wheat farm I ever saw in Minecraft. On day 31, I harvested all my crops, and while I was harvesting the crops, an enderman came to me and told me a secret message. If you want to know what that secret message is, be sure to finish the video because I actually built the word out of wood. It's a pretty weird word in my opinion. I then finished the day by trading everything and making a good amount of emeralds. On day 32, the only interesting thing that happened was that I killed a golem by myself without moving. On day 33, I did my daily chores, which are harvesting crops, gathering honeycombs, stuff like that. And then your boy got sidetracked like usual and found an amazing looking horse. I forced it to come to my base and tied it to a fence and forced it to be my friend. I guess that's why everything likes me. On day 34, I built a very interesting word. This word took me a long time to make. Wonder what it is? Yup, it was horse. The name I gave to my donkey. Such a beautiful name. And like usual, I finished the day by harvesting my crops. On day 35, while I was mining, I stumbled across a zombie spawner. I hoped that there was a horse saddle in there, because if not, I would be very upset. And there wasn't a saddle. But at least I found iron armor. I then found iron. I also found coal. I don't know why coal is interesting, but it just is. I then found gold and even lapis. And the moment I have been waiting for, I found diamonds. I was so happy, but my pickaxe was low in durability and it broke. I was so angry at that moment. I had to make a new one. So by day 36, I left the cave and gathered some wood and made my iron pickaxe and head straight back to the mine. Those diamonds looked so awesome, kinda like you guys who are watching the video. And by day 37, I got back home with 13 diamonds in my inventory. Yeah, I was a rich boy. I gave my amazing horse his iron armor. I also went inside and stored my riches in a secured chest and made a diamond pickaxe. I then went to the old ruined nether portal, and I wanted to build a nether portal as well as a enchanting table so I can upgrade my tools and armor. I never really understood how long it took to mine obsidian. I then went back home and just look at that word horse. On day 38, I worked on the nether portal. I was so excited to go in the nether. I wanted to see what awaits me. I then lit the nether portal up and went in. I spawned in the most horrible place to ever spawn in. Why is this a thing? How is this a thing? This is like the same look as my videos with the YouTube algorithm. Out of sorrow, I built an X out of wood, covering my shame. I then realized I didn't have enough obsidian for my enchanting table, so I went back and broke a block. So on day 39, I placed my enchanting table down and started working on an enchanting room. But I soon ran out of wood and motivation, so I traveled on a journey to wherever, and I stumbled across another ruined nether portal. And when I got there, it had some pretty decent loot. I then found a village in my way. I, like a normal guest, checked to see what they had, and it was some good stuff. I then slept for the night at some random villager's home. On day 40, I found a bunch of hay bales, and when I say a bunch, I mean a bunch. I couldn't wait to go back and trade all of these for emeralds. On day 41, I found another village not too far away from the previous village, and these people were the most welcoming people I ever met. I did have a little scruffle with a golem, but I ended up killing it as a sorry for attacking it. I then continued to rid the place of their trash. You know, one man's trash is another man's treasure. I then found a desert monument next to the village, and then entering the place, I looked into the chest and I found not one saddle, but 2 saddles. That means I can have a pig and a horse for transportation. Day 42, I got back home with tons of loot. I first gave my horse a saddle which looked good on him. By the way, I then traded all my wheat until the villager had nothing to trade anymore. I also wanted to upgrade my toolsmith, but I got scammed basically. On day 43, I started a soon-to-be large sugarcane farm. At least I hope. I then went on chopping down a ton of wood so I can finish my enchanting room. And with the wood, I started to work on my enchanting room. I built the walls, the roof, and I also added entrance. I also got that thingy from a village. It was looking good. On day 45, I harvested everything in my farms. I then went to trade everything for emeralds and got 16 emeralds. I then, with the iron I had, I upgraded my toolsmith, and now he trades a iron pick with efficiency 3 for 17 emeralds, which in my opinion was a really good deal. I then went to upgrade all my armor and my sword. I hate saying the word my sword. I then finished the day with armor being a master of scamming me. On day 45, I went to check on my sugarcane farm, and it was looking good. My other wheat farm was looking good as well. I ended up making a lectern. On day 46, I got a happy villager to become my book trader, and after dealing with the headache of setting up he looks like a professional. I then checked to see what he has, and it was a book for mending. I was so happy to see that his first trade was a book for mending. I obviously placed it in on my diamond pickaxe. I then got my first cows to start on my new cow farm. On day 47, I landscaped the area so that I can build my fence, and then lure my intelligent cows into the locked up area, and soon to become my leather farm. I sound sane. On day 48, I found another wandering villager, so I killed him without checking what he has because I wanted his leads. It's the only thing he is useful with. I then went to trade with my librarian as a one of a kind. I then made a diamond sword and gave it mending. On day 49, I started chopping down a lot of wood because I wanted to make another place for sheep to stay. I then got my first intelligent sheep to his new home, and shortly after, I got the second sheep. They were so happy, they didn't know what was gonna happen to them and their fur. I then witnessed another baby being born. This one came out hungry for some reason. And on day 50, I started working on the message the Enderman gave me. He told me this word, and this word was very important for what was gonna come. I made this word in the air so that it can remind me of it every day. I used wood because I know that wood cannot burn because I am a Minecraft pro. But whatever you are thinking, it's actually something else. And this is the final product: cows versus sheep. I wonder what that means. Hit the subscribe button and like button for part 2.